It's done a few things, right? It teaches us how to intentionally, A, who do we keep from the last town that we're going to have to be intentional to keep that relationship? And B, how do we want to upgrade our relationships in this next town? Parental, individual dates with your kiddos, being in a routine. One of the routines that we did at the beginning of COVID, so we'd kind of just been in Minneapolis. We'd lived there a year. We were renting a house. So we had 4 bedrooms upstairs that was like the size of this. There was my girls' room, my office, Tabitha's office, my girls' bathroom, and then our master bedroom. And it was like all this. Now we had a main floor and a basement, but like we just like lived there. And so there wasn't much further we could go. And so we're like, all right, if we're going to live in this world together for the next unforeseeable future, what are some extra routines we can have, particularly with our kids? And this one was my favorite. So when we would put our kids to bed at night, because we were around them all day, which how many know that has an opportunity to provide a little bit of stress? Maybe a little bit. It allowed us to sit there, look our kids in the eyes, and think back through the whole day. What is one thing they did that we were proud of? And tell them about it. And so I would take Lily, and I would say, hey, Lily, I was so proud of you when your sister was screaming and hollering. You came over to her and you put your arm around her and you gave her a pet. That never happened. But whatever it was, like you put your plate in the sink. Great job, kid. Whatever it was, instead of like how we kind of default to yelling and telling, stop doing that. Like, stop bugging your sister. You go to your room. You're on timeout, right? Is calling out the things that we saw in them that were positive gifts and that they were living out. And we would do that every night where we would tell them one thing that we were proud of them for. And that's before they would go to bed. So that kind of routine. And then the other thing around it is telling your kids you love them, right? Some people like do it way too much. Some people never do it. They're like, I told you when you were born. I'm sure you remember. But the next step with that is to ask them. And if you've got another set of notes, here's a good hack. I don't have this in here. Maybe we need to add it to my notes. If you will ask your kids, how do you know that mommy loves you? Or how do you know that daddy loves you? And what they tell you will be the thing that speaks the most to them so that you can replicate that and do that more. And then maybe next time you ask them, it'll be something different. And so you're just building relational capacity with your kid there.
If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button below so that you know every time I upload a new video so you can be encouraged and equipped to build your best life.
Last thing is social. So how many of you guys send calendar invites to your friends? Okay, all right. With your husband, right? So here's how you know you have the right group of friends for you, right? If you're a calendar invite person and you send them calendar invites to hang out, then you got the right people when they may either accept it or deny it because they're on the same page as you. As a family who's moved 19 houses since we've been married, 14, I don't know. It's been a lot. Yeah, so we do that a lot. We get to start over from scratch with this. It's done a few things, right? It teaches us how to intentionally, A, who do we keep from the last town that we're going to have to be intentional to keep that relationship? And B, how do we want to upgrade our relationships in this next town? And so we have a lot of conversations about the intentional choices. We only want to be around transparent people who we're not fake with. We ain't got no time for that. I have a running notes list on my phone of the people we want to hang out with. And I don't say we do this all the time, but like quarterly-ish, we'll be like, all right, who haven't we hung out with? Because, I mean, how many of you guys' social calendar is already like 2 months out, right? So you're already planning for Q1 2022, right? And so you could send them the calendar invites now to get that going. And it sounds weird if I have to be the person to give you permission to that. But again, that's not normal. But how many of you guys want a normal life? No, we want our best life. And best life is accomplished through doing things that aren't normal, like sending our friends calendar invites.